No guarantees on how this is gonna work, but we're gonna give it a go. Arts and crafts day in the shop. Problem we're running into is our hood sits literally flat on this bar and just barely makes a little uptick to meet this bar, which means the lid for our master cylinder has to be below this bar. So before I can do anything, I have to get the location of this figured out, which means this notch for this template that I'm starting to build has to be figured out first because of the center line. Repurpose the tube notcher box because the center line of where I put this hole is going to dictate how I build the rest of my bracket for this. So little whittle at a time. Little whittle? I don't know, that sounded weird, didn't it? I don't know about little whittle. Maybe that was the name of one of the 3 little pigs. Little whittle, is that the baby pig's name?
I don't think so. Just happened to be perfectly on your thing for the...
That was planned that way. We're gonna go with that, okay? Caught me without my hat. Out of the welding hood, no hat. All right, I think we figured the pedal out as far as length and swing and such. We got all the template made for the master cylinder mount, and I went out to the boneyard to get material that I thought was there, and we didn't have the right material. I had 1/4 inch and I had 1/16. I want to make this out of 1/8. By the time I bend it and weld it in, it'll be plenty strong, and we don't need that extra weight. So we'll run with that, pick some material up tomorrow. Should be good for that. I think I'm going to wait to weld the rest of this stuff in permanent until my floorboards can come out, and I don't want to be ripping those back in and out because I still have the go pedal to put in. Be careful, I'm going to burn my gut on that brake lever. So I need to put this guy in. Now that we've got that placed, I think that this can find its home in here and we should be good. Don't read that. It's got the secret addresses on it. And my guess is that whenever we get, let me take these off. Where's my hat? I feel like I'm naked. I feel like I'm naked. So I think, since this feller's in here, that we might be able to utilize the same mount that we're doing for the master cylinder for the throttle pedal. But we will find that out tomorrow. All right, late start to the morning. Had to do the family honeydew thing. So we are airline out there. We're actually, weird weekend for us. Tyler, which you've seen with us before, is moving to Utah. So he will be out of here shortly. And so we're doing family gathering tonight for him. You won't see much of him in our videos for a while. We'll still be doing our editing, so that's the guy you beat up for editing. And we will have a bunch of people at the house tonight, so we had to get some stuff picked up from that, neglecting stuff that I've been, or neglected stuff I guess, that I've been letting go in the backyard a little bit. We're gonna cut out the mount for that master cylinder, try to get it dialed in. Then we got to make a run to next town over, and all of the stuff that I ordered, I didn't order a 5/16 24 Heim joint, so I got to run the next town over. It's about 25 minutes or so each direction, pick up a Heim joint so that we can get the final placement of where that master cylinder is going to be in there. But we're going to do some plasma cutting. We're gonna get things set up outside, and we're gonna dial in this black bracket. We'll show you what we did. So what we did is we took the old cardboard pattern and we transferred that guy out. We transferred it onto our 1/8 inch sheet metal. We're gonna go ahead and cut this all out with the plasma, and then we'll take it back into the vise, seeing as I don't have a nice metal brake, and we'll use a big hammer and crescent wrench and heat if we need to, and we'll bend this thing up to the proper configuration, and then we will get that thing fit in. However, we need that heim joint we talked about before we can set the final placement on that due to pedal location and pedal swing. So we're gonna throw you on the tripod and get to cutting. All right, here's what we got. I got a piece of 3/16 and a piece of quarter. I think I'm gonna do is back up the back of it with the 3/16, use the quarter in the front. Quarter's a little bit bigger than a little bit longer, but I don't want to hack up this piece of material and have to throw it out. So put that guy in the front. Okay. So now our load is clamped all the way across. This 1/4 inch is going to be strong enough to support it, so I should be able to start my fold and then use the hammer to bring it over. We're going to put you guys on time lapse just because me beating on this is so loud that it's going to be useless for you guys footage wise, but you'll enjoy the time lapse. Alright, welcome back. We've got this guy roughed in. This is still that unknown piece. So we will probably have to take a road trip. I'm gonna have to do a little body work on this guy because it did wrinkle just a little bit right out here. But nothing that we can't hammer out. We'll just close the vise up tight, use the top of the vise as a backup dolly and kiss her up a little bit. Should be fine. Problem is, I don't know whether this is going to be close enough or not. Alright. So we are back over here. We had to put you down. Wasn't really any place for you guys to sit. So we've got the cardboard template back out. Figured out that we need to take this to about 98 degrees in this bend, which means I don't think we're going to be able to do it that way. We can only get to 90.
Yeah, but you don't have to go all the way down with these.
But I still don't think that that's going to give us enough. Well, I say that's close enough. What do you guys think? Close enough for a buggy? Guess we'll find out. Alrighty then. We're going to make an attempt to hole saw this bracket out. No guarantees on how this is going to work, but we're going to give it a go. Add this to another one of those horrible shop noises videos. Alright, catch you guys up here for a minute. So we did, so took calipers. If you press the button on these, they go zeros. But I measured from the edge of this bore to the center line of my, that was in millimeters, my brain doesn't read millimeters, to the center line of my bolt hole, which is 500 thousandths. 500 thousandths is 1/2 inch. So I took that, it might be a little hard to see here. So I took that and I scribed a line all the way around at 1/2 inch off of the edge of my bore. Just knowing that this just barely does fit over my master cylinder. So now what we're going to do is take our master cylinder, go back over to the car, and make sure that our orientation this way works out. And we will then mark top to bottom where we need to be on our bolt hole locations. Be back in a minute. All right, we're back out in the shop. Managed to track down a Heim joint. There you go. And got that guy onto the master cylinder. We're going to attempt the mock-up. I've placed my pedal about where I think I want it in relationship to my foot position and when I'm in the car. We're going to install the master cylinder with the Heim joint threaded all the way closed. I don't think I'll ever want it any farther back down than this, so that'll give me a little adjustment out, which actually is closer to my seat, and then we can set this in, figure out the bend location that we need for that second side tab. So we're gonna throw you up on tripod and give you a look at this. We'll try to get you an overhead shot of what we got going on as well. Consideration on whether I should notch this thing and just leave it straight down, or put a bend in it and run it underneath the steering shaft. I think it would be sweet to have it notched around the steering shaft, so I might do that. I can always redo the edge of this tab by welding something back on it, but I think I'm going to go ahead and chase this down real quick. And I think I'm going to count on half of a tube in here, see if I can't get just the edge of the pilot bit here and cut that out with a hole saw so it has a nice radial edge. But let's see. Be gone for just a minute. I'll be back. Told you I'd be right back. You guys didn't miss much. I just took a wild guess and bent this down a little bit because I'm trying to match up to this lower bar in a little happier location, because I'd like to weld that in. We might have a winner there. Alright, come over here and let me let you look at this. There's that bracket up in there. See, we match up over there. We'll give that, this little tab right here, a little more love after we trim it back. I think it'll be okay. This should come out very close right here to the top of our sleeve, so we'll cross drill through this, build a tab that comes out, probably either a threaded portion in the back of it, or we may just do a backup nut, and then we'll come off of this side back to here to create that. Actually we'll come off of here up to here so that everything pivots at the same time. Back to there would just be bad, and what my brain was talking about. My eyes were looking at something else. And then even if we have to add a touch of filler material in this little gap right here, I think we'll be good. We'll have 1, 2, 3 points of solid contact, and then this tab out here will get dialed in and attach that. I think that'll be all right for us. Safety glasses so y'all don't yell at me. I think that actually might work. We'll see. All right, I suppose I should take this guy over there, cut that one piece off that we need to get rid of on the side mount, and then we can get this thing tacked in. See you in a minute. Welcome back. We got this guy fit in here. Went ahead and took the master cylinder out of it because I had to do some forming and the stick out on the master cylinder was running into the vise. As you remember, we don't have a metal brake here, so I had to do this all old school with hammer and the vise, a couple pieces of sheet metal. I guess not sheet metal, I guess it's flat strap. And we are all tucked up in here. So we improved our contact patch here, which will be good. We can weld in there. This fitment here will be fine. We'll get that guy sewn in. This cutout here turned out good. Jump around the bar for you. This ended up good. We come in right adjacent to the steering column. We'll trim this guy down so it's a nice fit in here. Give us a little better weldment. I think I'd like not to have this tab sticking up quite as far, so I'll trim it down a bit. But all in all, not a bad fit. We're gonna take this guy over, do the trim up that we need to do on it. We'll jump back over here with you guys in just a second. Make sure that we're all dialed in exactly where we need to be, and then we'll tack this bracket in and get ready to drill the cross hole in the pedal. There we are. That guy is all tacked in. Let the clamp off. Nice and rigid. I don't think we'll ever go anywhere. If we want to, we can come in here and put a little corner gusset in to help make that rigid. But with all the bends we put in here, every time we put a bend in, it helped us gain some structural integrity over just a little flat piece. I think we should be fine. Absolute worst case scenario, we could come into the front of this if we find some deflection in that bracket ever. We can come in the front with a little gusset piece that comes down to one attachment point in the bar. We should be all right. All right, on to the hard part now. Drilling holes. All right, we're outside. I know, the lathe needs to go inside. We're working on a spot for it, but it's not there yet. So here's what we're working with. We're going to take this stainless bar and we're going to machine it out. All right, yeah, I know we should be inside with the lathe, but we haven't got the spot prepared for it yet. So here we are, still outside. We're going to take this steel bar, I'm going to face the end of it off to make it a little bit smoother, and I'm going to drill a hole in it for that bolt to go through. This guy's going to go in here. I'm considering actually drilling and tapping this rather than drilling it all the way through, so that we end up with a situation like this. Let me get it faced off and we'll figure that out. Alrighty, so we got that piece drilled and tapped. We were working on outside on the lathe. Spared you the boring part of watching us drill this hole, but the hole's drilled through the brake pedal. We're gonna go ahead and tack this guy in on this side and this side. We have a little deviation in our heim joint, but as the pedal swings through its arc, it seems to straighten up for the most part after it starts its downward swing. So we're gonna go with that. It might be right, it might be wrong. It's kind of what we're working with here. Engineer by the seat of my pants usually. Most of the time I come out on the wind side. Sometimes I bite off more than I can chew, and we'll show you tacking this guy in. We're not gluing her down forever, just for long enough to make sure everything's right. Eyeballs. So, this bolt's not all the way tight, and we're going to build that bracket to come off of here, so I'm not too concerned about this. This is also just tacked in, so nothing too hairy scary about that. I like my pedal placement, I think. All right, on to the next piece of the puzzle. We're going to have a whole lot of finish welding to do after we get all this stuff tacked in, but I want to do that after I get my floorboards out, so I don't leave a bunch of little dingleberries and UFO marks on aluminum floor. Another look at what we got. Everything is down below. There's Pop over there. Everything's down below our hood surface. So far so good. Still trying to cram 10 pounds of mud in a 5-pound sack. So we'll see how things go. Off to the next. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you on the next one.